Let's go ahead and take a look at this game preview. We got the LA Rams taking on the Arizona Cardinals. This game will be on Monday Night Football with Steve Levy, and that's going to be a 5:15 p.m. Pacific Time kickoff on ESPN. And I do believe that the Manning Cast is back for this one. Love the Manning Cast, respect the Manning Cast, support the Manning Cast, and believe there's an audience for that Manning Cast. I'm not part of it. I just want a normal broadcast. I don't want all these ridiculous jokes and stuff like that. I definitely see its place, and I definitely see its value. Just not necessarily for me. If you guys enjoy it, hey, I'm not bashing you one bit, all right? Manningcast is cool, but I'm just going to be on the regular broadcast. So for this game, what we're really looking at is the Rams lost to the Arizona Cardinals in Week 4 just this season. That was a 37-20 win for the Arizona Cardinals. And the Cardinals, with that win, broke an 8-game streak that the Rams had over the Arizona Cardinals. That was Cliff Kingsbury's first time defeating Sean McVay. And if you guys, were here for my look back on that one, the Rams just felt off that day. It just didn't feel like a good day. And that happens. We see that with this team sometimes where we've mentioned it with Jared Goff in the past years where on that first drive, if Jared Goff hits 0 for 3 on the first drive and we punt, it's like, oh, this is going to be one of those days. It just it felt like that all game, that like we couldn't really get it going. And we've had other games like that as well. Even more recently, you can look at those games. You could even look, Packers game was one of them that it seemed just a little out of sync. And I know that this team is looking at this game. They lost at home to the Arizona Cardinals, a division opponent. You got to think they really want to get that one back, right? So I don't know if this will be one of those again. I really, really hope not. That's the best that I can give you guys right now on that one because it's hard to also get overly confident when you're coming off a win over the Jacksonville Jaguars. And like I said earlier, a 30-point win in the NFL is huge no matter who you're playing against. But I want to see it against really strong teams as well. And luckily, we have really strong teams except outside like the Minnesota Vikings, for the rest of the season. The Rams have some pretty tough games here. So you get 3 division games, all 3 division opponents, including the Arizona Cardinals. Then you also got the Baltimore Ravens. There's some tough games. Some tough games that the Rams have, but the Arizona Cardinals are the first team to get to 10 wins on the season. So they are definitely sitting in that number 1 seed in the NFC. And if the Rams can defeat the Arizona Cardinals, the Cardinals would drop to 10-5, and the Rams would increase to 9-4. So they would be right there. And all we would need is just a little bit of help from somebody else to get into possibly the 1 seed. I'm not sure because, of course, the Rams would not have the tiebreaker against the Green Bay Packers as well, but do have it over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So this race for the 1 seed, the Rams are absolutely still in it, all right? Don't you for 1 second think that the Rams are out of this playoff race or anything like that. Even though that 3-game losing streak happened, we were 7-1 at a time, and now we're 8-4. So we're still sitting in a pretty good spot here. And I definitely think at worst the Rams do end with the 5 seed. I think that feels very real that the Rams could be sitting right in there. So we had also the NFC West Roundtable. There was a question that I would like to pose to you guys as well, and loved the question. It was a great question, and basically the question is just this. It's if the Arizona Cardinals defeat the LA Rams, do they win the West? Is it just too far gone? I'll give you guys my answer. I think yes. I think if the Arizona Cardinals win this game, I don't see the Cardinals losing enough games to get the Rams back ahead of them at all. So, but how poetic would it be if the Arizona Cardinals steal first place from the LA Rams in Week 4, and then with just a couple games to go, the Rams are able to creep back into that number 1 spot in first place in the NFC West? That'd be pretty poetic, wouldn't it? But of course, the Cardinals don't clinch the division, at least to my knowledge. They don't clinch the division with a win over the Rams, but it becomes very, very difficult for the Rams to get ahead of them. And like I said, if the Cardinals win this game, I just don't see the Cardinals losing enough games after this one to fall down and let the Rams pass them for that first spot. So if the Rams lose this game, I do think it's a wild card. But if the Rams win this game, just need just a touch of help, just a scotia help from the outside, and then we can maybe get into the top 4 and host a playoff game. Speaking of hosting a playoff game, if you guys are interested in learning more about getting potential playoff tickets, head over to therams.com. They've got the information listed there. Let's take a look at the history of this matchup. The Rams do lead the all-time series 45-39, and that is a 53.5% winning percentage, which is, hey, that's awesome. If you're over 50%, you're doing fine. But the Rams do have 6 more wins over the Cardinals than they have. 45-39. It's pretty solid. All right. First ever game between these two came on October 3rd of 1937. That was the Chicago Cardinals versus the Cleveland Rams, and was a 6-0 win for the Cardinals. The most recent game between these two came on October 3rd, 2021, just earlier this season. 37-20 win for the Arizona Cardinals. And we've seen a lot of iterations of Rams versus Cardinals, and I have them all listed here for you guys because those are the kinds of things that Sheriff Joe Baggs brings to you guys. It started with Cleveland versus Chicago, then it went to Los Angeles versus Chicago, Los Angeles versus St. Louis, Los Angeles versus Phoenix, Los Angeles versus Arizona, St. Louis versus Arizona, and then back to Los Angeles versus Arizona. As far as the Cardinals being called Phoenix Cardinals, the Rams only defeated the Phoenix Cardinals only one time. 1-4 record, only just 5 matchups though. And the St. Louis Rams never played the Phoenix Cardinals. But hey, all over the place. Both of these teams have played in 3 different cities, and the second city for each of these teams was the city of St. Louis. And the city of St. Louis did lose both of these teams to their current homes, which is Los Angeles and Arizona. Let's take a look at the matchup. We will start with the Rams offense, who does currently rank 5th in the NFL, just 0.6 yards off of putting up 400 a game, going against, though, the number 5 defense in the Arizona Cardinals, who are doing an awesome job this year on that side of the football. The Rams 3rd in passing, 289 out of Matthew Stafford, and just a couple here from the Wolf. Ow. And then the Cardinals are tied for 4th against the pass. Running the football, the Rams 97.9, sounds like a sweet radio station, 23rd in the NFL, but the Cardinals defense 16th, so just a little bit higher, but that is their weak spot, but that's also what the Rams just don't really do a whole lot, is run the football. And then the Rams are putting up 28 points a game, tied for 5th. The Arizona Cardinals giving up under 19, and that is 4th place in the NFL. So, you know what? This is basically your perfect matchup. This is basically strength on strength. 5th ranked offense versus 5th ranked defense. 3rd ranked passing offense versus 4th ranked passing defense. Tied for 5th in points on offense for the Rams, 4th in points allowed for the Cardinals. So it's like it is like your perfect matchup here, and we'll see who kind of comes out on top of this one. It's quite the matchup, especially late season for a division game on Monday Night Football. So prime time, it's absolutely perfect. We'll see what Cooper Kupp can do. First player to 100 receptions. He is currently on pace for 141.6, which the record is 149. He's currently on pace for 1,935 yards. That's just 29 below the NFL record, which is 1,964. So he's sitting right there at a good spot, but let's also not pretend like that wasn't in a 16-game season that these records were set, so he's really not on pace to defeat these records, but he is absolutely on pace, or could be potentially on pace if he can just increase those averages just a little bit. He could become the new record holder and start the 17-game season holding this record, with which everybody would be getting their eyeballs on to try to beat. Let's go to the other side of the football here. Cardinals offense versus the Rams defense. Cardinals offense ranks 10th in the NFL right now. The Rams defense is 13th. I know that feels weird that they are climbing back up there, but hey, those averages helped quite a bit against those Jacksonville Jaguars. Passing the ball, the Cardinals just on the outside of the top 10, while the Rams are right in the middle of the road at 16. And then running the ball, top 10 for the Arizona Cardinals with 124, and then the Rams are giving up just barely over 100 a game, and that is 7th. The Cardinals putting up some points, 28.6, so just barely more than the Rams offense is putting up, but it is more. And then the Rams defense is giving up 22.5 per game, which is tied for 16th, so middle of the road there as well. The Rams are doing a pretty good job on the road, though. with 8 picks on the road, but only 4 at home. So I'm not sure exactly what could possibly be causing that. And if you guys want to look into these numbers more yourself, where I get this information, by the way, stuff like the splits, is I go to footballdb.com. That's footballdatabase.com, or database if you're a jerk. But that's where I get a lot of that information at. So if you guys, hey, look it up yourselves, guys, also, and find other cool bits of information and little cool things that when you're talking to somebody who's a Cardinals fan, you can be like, well, the Rams do this in the second quarter. You push up your glasses like that, like a dork, and then you can just kind of throw that kind of stuff out there. It's really cool. But that's where I find that information. But hey, the Rams are doing a good job on the road on defense. And I don't know if that's like something that the Rams kind of like come together and pull together when they're on the road outside instead of being at home. But hey, whatever is working. And I think we all want to see that continue, right? Especially against a division opponent who has a potential MVP candidate in there, a potential Super Bowl team, potential. I'm not saying the Cardinals are going there. I'm just saying they definitely are playing some good ball this season. Take a look at the 3 to see. Look back at the game against the Jacksonville Jaguars. We had Jalen Ramsey, who was drafted by the Jags in the first round a few years back. He had 3 total tackles in that early fumble recovery. I really wanted to see that fumble recovery go to the crib, but it did not happen. Looks like Trevor Lawrence was barely able to get there. And there was a great picture of Jalen Ramsey on Trevor Lawrence for that one, which was really funny if you guys didn't get a chance to see it. Classic photo. Definitely a classic, but if I find it, I'll put it up. If I didn't put it up, that means I didn't find it. But yeah, very good stuff there. Quarterback Matthew Stafford, 26 of 38, 295, 3 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. So, hey, did fine. Limited his mistakes. Didn't throw a pick 6 this time. Hard to complain about that. I also had listed Ben Scaronick as on my 3 to see, or Van Jefferson, but that was all conditional on if Ben Scaronick played, which he did. Had a big 3rd down drop, which he definitely should have had. But hey, made up for it on a big 35-yard reception, which was pretty sweet to watch. Pretty cool stuff. Showing some flashes like he's taking some tips from Cooper Kupp out here and playing some good ball. But here, the Arizona Cardinals 3 to see. First, we're going to start with Ernest Jones. The last time these two teams played, Chase Edmonds averaged 10 yards a carry. Cannot let that happen in this one. Run defense will be huge, and we still don't have our best run defender at the linebacker spot, which was Kenny Young. Of course, we're not going to get him back, but Ernest Jones is going to be a big part of this, and he's definitely taking over that top linebacker spot. He's getting more reps than guys like Troy Reeder, so he is the guy. Ernest Jones is now the guy, and I think at this point, like, we'll get into our awards later on after Week 18 is done, but Ernest Jones looks like he's pretty much Rams Rookie of the Year by default at this point, but also not by default because he's playing some really good football. Next up, we have wide receiver Van Jefferson. In the first meeting, he led the team in yards with receiving. He led the team in receiving yards with 90 on 6 receptions. That led the team in both those categories. The Cardinals, they took away Cooper Kupp, and if they do that again, you would expect that Van Jefferson and or Brodell Beckham Jr. To be featured pretty heavy in this game. So I kind of want to put a little asterisk there of saying that it could be OBJ that kind of is the guy that gets those targets. Could this be a breakout game for him? We'll kind of see. But Van Jefferson is who I'm going to go with here because he was, in the first meeting, the leading receiver for the Rams. And then the last one here, I'm going to go with edge. Just edge in general, because Kyler Murray he's a little squirrely guy, and you gotta try to contain him. And the Rams did a very poor job of maintaining or containing this Cardinals offense at all in their first meeting. In fact, if you watch that game, I'm not even sure what the game plan was to stop Kyler Murray. It wasn't to keep him in the pocket. It wasn't to flush him out. It just kind of seemed like they were doing whatever they wanted to. So the edge rushers are going to be huge in this one. Von Miller, of course, wasn't here in Week 4, so that's going to be a big difference going into this game that Kyler Murray did not see in the first matchup. And then Leonard Floyd, of course, those guys both will have their hands full with Kyler Murray. So hopefully what happens here is they can kind of squeeze that pocket, and guys like AD can eat up in the middle, man, and then just kind of get Kyler Murray on his back. Okay, put him on that number one. We've seen it before where Aaron Donald could just kind of like, he just kind of brush against Kyler Murray and he like flies away because I mean, Aaron Donald could bench probably like 7 Kyler Murrays. So, I mean, it's easy. If we can get Aaron Donald to Kyler Murray, he just got to get one of them big old paws on him, and it's just about over. Okay, so, but just can't let Kyler run loose on us like we did in that first meeting. That's going to be the main key here. We'll go ahead. Did you guys know that Rams fans are the best kind of human? Of course you did. You're one of them, aren't you? All right, so if you guys haven't already, this side's going to be subscribed. If you like this clip and you think that this is awesome, which, come on now. I mean, the entire podcast is going to be on this side here. Make sure you guys watch it there. Peace! Go Rams!